That's where I was saying that this movie challenges what does it mean to be a Spider-Man from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Because Miles was like, how do you know that if I save my dad, everything's gonna blow up? Calling out all my nerds, freaks, and geeks. It's mob time.
Don't tune in cause it's showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap food rhyme, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Blerd Mob, your hub for all things black and nerdy. I am your host, Foop, joined by my two co-hosts, Ryan and Ralph. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other streaming service, make sure you hit that follow button so you can get updates from the mob.
And if you young web slingers are watching us on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those bell notifications for future uploads, and shoot a web and share it with a friend.
I like how you do that. That's a very nice touch. A very nice touch.
Off the dome every time.
Off the dome. But we are here today to do a mob review on Sony's Across the Spiderverse, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, which debuted on June 2nd, 2023. As always, our mob reviews are spoiler filled. So if you haven't seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse or even Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I would pause this video, go get caught up, and come back and listen to the discussion. So how you boys been doing today?
Pretty good.
Living, bro, living. Yeah, you know, y'all know it's hailing in parts of Texas right now.
In parts of Texas, not all of Texas.
Like 20 minutes down the street, there was a city getting hail that tore up folks' cars, and I'm like, in June? In June?
That could have been you.
At this point, the weather gonna do what it do.
Yeah. Look, bro, I don't know what it is. You can't escape it. I thought living in a grassland like Texas, it'll be too hot for that. Nope.
No.
Nah.
The way it snowed and flooded in Texas them couple years ago, anything is possible.
Man. Mother Nature don't mess with America no more, bro.
What'd you say, Ralph?
The sky's the limit.
Honestly.
Right. The sky can do what it won't. That's what I'm saying.
Right. But it's June. What does that mean to me?
Right. December finna become the new summer now.
What was the thing? Christmas in July? Well,
there we go.
Yes.
When companies want to build up camaraderie around their employees, we're doing Christmas in the summer, Christmas in July. Secret Santa.
I remember there was some network, I want to say it might have been Cartoon Network, that did a Christmas in July thing and just started showing all their holiday specials for like a week in July. And I was like, what?
They said
I watched it, but what?
They said we spend all this money on production materials. We're not finna show it once a year.
We have no summer specials, so just show the Christmas ones.
Exactly.
Well, I guess you kind of can count regular show as being a summer kind of show.
But they don't have a dedicated
there's
Halloween episodes.
Regular show. Yeah.
That's they got Halloween specials and Christmas specials, but they don't have like certain animes will do like a beach day special. A lot of cartoons don't be doing that.
Avatar did beach day.
Avatar did do that.
And then when Ralph had brought up regular show, it made me think to Phineas and Ferb. I would count Phineas and Ferb as a summer show.
Yeah, their whole point is summer.
How did Phineas and Ferb end? I didn't watch the ending, or I just don't know about it.
I don't know how it ended.
I have to check again. But I did watch the movie.
Didn't it end with the movie? I was just about to ask. Didn't it end with the movie?
So
what's the movie about?
I couldn't tell you.
I ain't even about to do it. I thought about it and nope. I'm gonna just let you watch it.
Ralph said you gotta go experience that for yourself.
Yeah. It wasn't bad, I will say that.
Okay.
Phineas and Ferb was legendary for that "Squirrels in My Pants" song, though.
Squirrels in my pants.
That went hard.
Hey, they did have some dope songs, though.
Yeah.
If I didn't watch Phineas and Ferb for nothing else, I was gonna get them bops.
Nah,
Exactly.
my tricked out car from outer space.
I like
That's a bop.
Mm.
I like Busted with Candace and Vanessa.
Yeah, I did like Busted
That was
too.
solid.
And the Valentine's Day one. I said about chicka wow wow.
Yeah,
That's what
Oh,
my
that's what
that's
baby
my
what my
baby
lady
said.
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 Bye
Bye,
Wow
bye.
wow.
bye, bye. That was lit.
That was nice.
But
Well, let's go
anyway,
ahead and
yeah,
get into it. Ralph was already about to lead
yeah.
into it. I got you. We here. We see each other. But let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing I want to talk about for Across the Spider-Verse, I do want to discuss the movie overall before we dive deep into the layers. Just to start off, how did you guys feel about the movie as a whole?
You want to go first, Ryan? You want me to go?
I think I'll go last only because I'm the newest person to across to this side of Spider-Man.
Okay.
But that's more of the reason for you to go first.
Yeah, but
I don't want to be controversial. Okay, I'll be
you're
controversial.
not gonna be
It was I.
controversial.
It was
Okay.
I. I'm gonna be honest. I was. If y'all watched the last episode, no, was that an episode or post episode credits? Food, Ralph and Sage all peer pressure me to watch the first Spider-Man Spider-Verse movie. It was solid. It was solid. I didn't love it, didn't hate it, but I didn't dislike it either. It was solid. I was like, I see why people enjoy it. Watch the second one. It was cool. It wasn't the most amazing thing like everybody's saying on Twitter. It didn't feel like, oh, the next best thing since sliced bread. Like, congratulations to the producers for getting those high rankings on Billboard and everything. Not Billboard, whatever the blockbuster stuff where they beat all the other MCU movies. Congratulations to the folks behind it. But it wasn't all that for me. Enjoyable, but I honestly don't see why it's like everybody's like new favorite MCU movie or Sony Spider-Man movie. I don't get it, to be honest.
Are you just not a big Spider-Man fan?
I enjoyed Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man a lot. In these last Spider-Man movies, you can ask Ralph, didn't we watch the last one together? I was in there cheering.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. I just, Across the Spider-Verse, it didn't pull me much.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, I'll get into it later, but like why I think so, but it was solid. I just know that opinion was going to upset folks, and I didn't want people to click off the video when they watching this.
Well, they didn't click. They clicked off already.
By now.
They said Ryan ain't cooking today, and I'm sorry.
They done paused the video, took a big, strong Negro sigh, and
made a tweet,
and now they finna press play.
Subscriber count finna go down. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
They just took a heavy Negro sigh
and said, "This man, this Uncle Ruckus."
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead, Ralph. How you felt about it?
I mean, I have this thing where I say no second movie will be better than the first.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I
that's
have
your
heard
introduction.
You say that before.
That's like you're learning everything is new. At this point, I will stick with that. Still, that saying. The second movie was not better than the first, in my opinion. It had a bit more action, a bit more actiony scenes. The second movie was meant more so for character development, in my opinion. It was very character development oriented with all these new Spider-Man, Spider people were learning about the Spider Society. We're learning that, Gwen is, in some stuff. We're gonna go into it, I'm pretty sure, a lot deeper. But yeah, it's a whole bunch of new things we're learning. They're giving us more backstory on people. So the only thing that we was missing was a backstory from Miguel. We got a little bit. We got like a little slice, but we didn't get his full Spider-Man story.
So when we talk about Miguel, I think there's a reason why they didn't do that. In my statement that we'll go into, that Miguel isn't a true Spider-Man. And when we get to his character, I'll explain more why, but he's not a true Spider-Man. Yeah. And they switched up his story, his origin for this movie.
Okay.
So, but my opinion on the movie, I agree with Ralph. I thought this movie was damn good, but I don't think it was better than the first one. And the reason why I say that, I think the first one was so monumental because It was Miles Morales, Black Afro-Latina Spider-Man, getting his own solo movie. It's animated. You have all like the concept of it, the music that came with it, the way that they animated it. It felt really refreshing seeing it that first time for me. Seeing it
Yeah.
in theaters in the way that it hit the screen.
So
And
the
then
second one lost its novelty for y'all, essentially. Like it
I wouldn't
just
I wouldn't say novelty. I would just say that I
It
expected nothing less of what they gave me. What they
yeah.
gave me was exactly what I was looking for. But when we talk about Into the Spider-Verse, when that being the first one that hit the scene,
it exceeded
that
expectations and
exactly,
yeah,
like I
okay.
didn't know, like going into the Spider-Verse, I didn't know what to expect from this movie.
Fair.
And then
Okay.
when the bar got set, then it got to Across the Spider-Verse, and the expectation, it met the expectation because
Yeah.
of how I felt about Into the Spider-Verse. But I agree with Ralph. I think part of the reason of why I agree with Ralph is the fact that this movie is a two-parter. This whole sequence is a two-parter.
Oh,
And
we
this
gonna have to talk
whole
about that ending.
and this yeah, but this whole Across the Spider-Verse is building up to a lot of things. I don't think
Yeah.
we'll get that bam that we're looking for until we get to Beyond the Spider-Verse, when we start wrapping this
Mm-hmm.
shit up. But I
Mm-hmm.
definitely agree with Ralph that part one did give a lot of time to build relationships. What's everybody doing after Into the Spider-Verse? Let's introduce these new characters. Let's give you a bone to some of their backstories so you could kind of see everybody's views and where they're coming from when we get to this conflict. Okay,
Okay.
we end it like we did, and now Beyond the Spider-Verse, at once we get to Beyond the Spider-Verse, you already know where everybody's point of view, how everybody feels, and now we're about to get to the nitty-gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it was the way that they set it up made sense for it to be a middle in the series.
Yeah, because this whole movie, like it felt like there was an overarching theme. Like the first one, Into the Spider-Verse, felt like Miles becoming Spider-Man. That's essentially what it was. I'm becoming Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was I'm changing what Spider-Man is, or rather, I'm defying the expectations of Spider-Man. And that's cool. It's just we're not going to see the end result till part two, which makes this movie. Bridges are cool, but it's not your end destination, which
Yeah.
kind of takes away that hype and energy, I guess.
I think that both movies, and that was going to be my next question for you guys, is how it compares to Into the Spider-Verse. And my thing is that I think both movies are asking, what does it mean to be Spider-Man, but from two different perspectives. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Ryan was hitting on for Into the Spider-Verse, it's Miles getting bit by the spider. So what does it mean to use these powers and to say that I'm Spider-Man and
Mm-hmm.
to undergo these challenges of discovering your powers for the first time, going against your first big villain, seeing that everybody isn't who you think they are, so that you get that perspective. And then Across the Spider-Verse is, what does it mean as Spider-Man to make the hard choices?
Yeah.
Can we save everybody? The whole canon event theory. Can we go against that? Is it does it does sacrifice and does letting all of these bad things happen, is that what it means to be Spider-Man? Or does it mean like, yeah, you said this is gonna happen, but me being a hero, me being Spider-Man, I'm gonna go against that?
Miguel said, "Yeah, that's exactly what it means to be Spider-Man."
Very
He said,
much.
"Yeah, like what you talking about? That's exactly it. You're exactly right.
You're gonna follow this line by line.
A,
We
B,
all
and
lose our
C.
uncle and a dad, every single one of us, and half the time we get the girl. Like,
Hey,
like
but what about you,
Uh,
Ralph? How do you feel like, or if you had an opinion on how it compares to Into the Spider-Verse?
I can, as comparison, it's a bit of a comparison, except it's not super close because, like I said earlier, it's the first one you're getting introduced. You're getting a bit of story, except you're getting a lot more action. That's going to pull you in to keep coming. The second, you have the more story oriented with the action scene between the Spider Society, Spot, and Miguel. I feel like on Into the Spider Verse, you got a lot more action with Kingpin, with Prowler, with um Lady Ock.
Doc Ock.
Yeah, Doc Ock. Yes. Is that it? I feel like I'm
I,
missing
I
somebody.
I think you hit on those were the three villains,
Those are the big three ones.
the
Yeah.
big three that
So
was
I feel
in
like
Into the Spider Verse.
yeah, and I feel like those three amounted to a lot more action than this movie. So they catered more to the story in this one. So since I like action, I'm gonna tend to go with the Into the Spider Verse. I mind the story a little bit, so to a certain point, it's like okay, but it didn't bore me. It kept my attention the entire time. So I still give it to Into the Spider Verse. It's close, but
Now I could see that because both of them are pretty fresh on my mind. Across the Spider Verse's action also wasn't as intense until it got towards the ending.
Right.
yeah,
A lot of the action was, I don't want to say it was like a sideshow, but it was used to aid the story, not for you to focus in on
Right.
this violence and these big bangs going on. It
Because
was really character driven in this movie.
right.
it's only really three action heavy sequences in Across the Spider
Yeah.
Verse. You got the beginning with Gwen, Jessica, and Miguel fighting Vulture from a different
Mhm.
universe. Then you have the spider chase scene, and then the ending.
Yep. Because
So
everything with Spot before that was kind of like, we here, we
it was
laughing.
gimmicky. Like the
Yeah.
fight between Miles and the Spot was gimmicky. But I think
Yeah.
in Beyond the Spider Verse, we finna get what we got Into the Spider Verse as far as the action sequences, because now it's time to go.
Yeah,
But I also think that's why it was so mass appealing, though, because this, like, people are raging about this on social media. I need to see more of the charts and box office scores, but I think that's what made it so enjoyable for the masses because it had a good amount of
Well,
everything. It had its action, it had its character driven stuff,
well,
colorful art.
the other thing is that Sony promoted Across the Spider Verse way better than they did Into the Spider Verse. Into the Spider Verse barely got any marketing
yeah,
Mm,
when it hit the box office. And now when it got that reception, now okay, Across the Spider Verse, let's go. Like they're doing press tours, all of these promotions, all of these trailers, etc., etc. So I think that plays a big part into it as
true.
well.
True, they got more eyes on it.
Right. So
and it
like the
Okay.
showed with
fans
the
are already
numbers.
gonna come back just because of Into the Spider Verse, but just that extra marketing definitely took it up there.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
They made their money.
So let's get into the visuals. Hey, so Ryan had brought up the animation and the visuals. So how did you guys feel about the visuals in this movie? And we can compare it to Into the Spider Verse, or we can just talk about Across the Spider Verse in itself. But
I don't think we
The-
can. I don't think we can compare. And the only reason I say that is the scenes between Gwen and her father.
yeah, um I love that everybody's dimension had a different animation style.
Yes.
that was really dope. I'll say this: animation in terms of just movement and how fluid it was, flawless in both movies. This had $1 billion support. This wasn't. They had the high end tower Apple PC to make
Yeah.
these movies. I could tell it looked great. I like the colorfulness because at first it was kind of throw offish. Like I don't care for the comic book design. Like I talked about that with My Hero a lot. But I like how the colors alluded to like the dimensions. Like even towards the ending, I could immediately tell something was off because I was like, the color saturation is a little different. So I like how the
Mm-hmm.
colors played a part into the storytelling, and that was a great use of its animation style. which I'll give it its big ups to. That was good.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
have
have
to agree
any
with
some
Ryan.
more, Ralph?
Oh, because I wanted to dive into Gwen and her father because visually, every time they would have an intense conversation, you would see the colors slowly change to the
Mm-hmm.
mood and to the setting that they were getting into. Like when I think at the beginning it went from being bright pink because she was happy. She was happy to see her father. Then it kind of went to a more purpler tone as the conversation
Mm-hmm.
went on, and he was slowly starting to make his decision of whether to support his daughter or pretty much take her in. So I enjoyed the play in colors the entire time between their interactions. I also agree with Wine. Every world was different. They had their own style. I like the fact that they included the Lego Spider Man. That was fun. That was
That's
pretty
my
cool.
That was
favorite
cool.
reference. That's
That
my
was pretty
favorite
cool.
reference in the whole movie. He was like, "Beep boop," and I was like, "Is he making sound effects?"
It
Like that was so
it
good. You can go, Ryan.
it they took really great advantage of that. Like that creative choice, like almost every show or movie, oh, it's something intense, somebody died or whatever, boom, rain, thunderstorm, everybody in
Mm-hmm.
black. Oh, you know what I'm saying? We've seen that 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't recall a time where I've seen a scene like where literally the atmosphere's colors change to like a mood ring. Like how what Ralph's talking about. I don't think I can
Mm-hmm.
recall ever seeing that. Even shows like this anime called K, it used a lot of colors and it was really creative, but it did not use colors to this degree. I gotta give them that.
Yeah.
That was really great.
I definitely agree. Like the biggest thing to me for Into the Spider-Verse and even the animated projects that came after that, the way that they used the colors, the way that they did the animation, how fluid it was. Like we've seen projects trying to replicate that or have been replicating that since. And I like that when they got to the second installment that they enhanced it even more.
Oh
Like
yeah,
even the biggest ups I want to give to them is the Lego scene was cool, but Spider Punk's design,
loved it.
that was dope. It took them 3 years to animate it, but I think it was beautiful how they did it. And his character, like he's in the society, but he's kind of like that rebel, like that outcast in the society. And the way that they designed him, making him look completely different than everybody else, definitely fit into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they took Punk to a whole new level.
Yeah.
They paid
Oh
attention to
yeah.
that.
So
So
also I gotta give them their ups to the spot. The way that the way that man looks at the end
yeah.
versus what he looked at the beginning, that's like that was like a visual coming of villain type thing. Because when you
Mm-hmm.
first see him, he's gimmicky, he's playing around, and then you see him at the end and he's all black and distorted. And I was like, you look scary as hell right now.
My
I
man looked
I actually
like
was going to ask.
he looked like the Slender Man for real.
Yeah.
He was the Slender Man.
I was actually going to ask: is he a canon character? Like, is he
Yeah.
canon to? Are they
Mm.
going? You think they're going to put him in live action Spider Man? Because I never heard of him until Across the Spider Verse.
I
Because I wouldn't mind seeing him. I was like,
I
this is
think
interesting.
so. The Spot was an interesting choice for this movie, but as the plot went, I understood why they chose him.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want to go like live action Spider-Man, and if we just want to talk about Tom Holland specifically, I think there's some other Spider-Man villains that would be better adversaries to him, just
More
given on
suited for
yeah,
him. Mm-hmm.
more suited for him than just putting the Spot out there. I think the
Okay.
Spot was a very good villain for this specific purpose.
Okay.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
agree. And I enjoyed the Spot's progression of him being pretty much a nobody to Miles because in the beginning of the movie, you see Miles just watching this guy run around the convenience
Mm-hmm.
store, and he's just eating, chilling, and throughout the movie, you see the progression of like, oh, he's getting dangerous. Oh,
Right.
he's real.
Right. He was like the embodiment of I'm funny until I'm not.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's the embodiment of you need to heal and let that hurt go. Cause you was just
Yeah.
mad. You was mad that you ain't getting beat as bad as the other villains. Like, come on, bro.
Or not
Like,
taking it seriously. But I feel like sometimes those turn out to be like the most like top tier villains for me because the lengths that you will go to get recognized by your adversary.
bro,
Yeah.
if you worked alongside Miles probably could have found some scientists to help you. And you over here hurt. I'm a villain. I'm the I'm a Rhino level villain. No,
I think
no.
you
Calm
see you
down.
trying to make Miles like Tom Holland, like, oh, I can fix
Nah.
you, but Miles not trying to
Miles
hear
not
all. No,
fixing
Miles
you.
wasn't trying to hear all that.
Fair.
Miles
He
taking you
wasn't-
in.
Right. But speaking of Miles, how did we feel about his growth in this film from Into the Spider-Verse into this one?
I enjoyed it. I would have to say I enjoyed it, and the reason why I enjoyed it was we get to see. So again, at the beginning of the movie, we got to see him go from being around all these other spider people to him dealing with being alone again. Like we get to see that, so we get a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of FOMO, a little bit of depression, all kind of mixed in, until he sees Gwen looking down at him, which probably would have scared the absolute hell out of me. Not gonna lie,
Nah,
but
for real. I'm bumping my music and you popped out of where?
so like,
Man, he was happy.
He
yes,
was.
he was. He was so happy.
And love ass kid.
That man had the entire book of Gwen. But to continue, so we got that, and then mid, we got to see, him actually growing with kind of dealing with being the only different one out of the other Spider-Man. Pretty much, we kind of fast forwarded to him being on the train, and he's kind of talking with Gwen and Peter. Peter with Mayday.
Peter B.
Yeah, Peter B. I cannot remember that man's name, but we got to see their interaction and him kind of like being like, "Dang, that y'all really didn't have my back. Y'all kind of kept this from me this entire time.
They
Like
made
y'all
the
could have
wrong
told me."
call.
I don't know, but we gonna talk about that down the
I we
line.
I'm on
gonna talk.
Miguel's side.
No.
I'm on
We gonna
Miguel's side
we
for
gonna talk. We
No.
gonna talk about it. But I think they made the wrong call. But to get into my perspective of Miles's growth, it was very nostalgic to see him dealing with stuff like as a 15-year-old. Because I was like, I remember when I used to be like that. I remember when my parents used to fuss at me like that. And then I love how the movie played both into his personal life and as Spider-Man, because with some superhero movies you don't get that. Like if we even want to talk about the Batman was strictly the Batman. Like we barely got to see anything as far as Bruce Wayne, his personal life, things that how he's balancing being Bruce Wayne and being Batman. But in Miles, we got to see both him balancing his life as being a teenager, like his future in academics, his love life, his personal life, and we had to see him deal with the things of balancing that with being Spider-Man. Like, how do you not let your personal feelings get into the fact that you're the sole Spider-Man in Brooklyn? So
yeah.
Okay.
I would say Miles' character development was very safe and they did a great job at it. But that's part of the reason, if I get into it, why this movie didn't come off as great to me. Because he felt like the perfect MC. Like, he didn't make a mistake that was outrageous. When he should have been upset, he was upset. He was a great poster child type of kid. Like, I'm smart, but I'm also artsy. I got my, I'm a teenager and I'm a little rambunctious. I paint streets and stuff. I get upset when my girlfriend disappears and I want to shoot my shot. I at the end, I'm telling I'm the one who's going to break the rules. I'm going to tell my parents that I'm Spider-Man and I'm doing it to save people. I should be a hero. He felt really clean cut. And for me, I think that's why I didn't just think this movie was great, because he didn't really show for me any imperfections. He felt like the perfect child, like the perfect teenager, the perfect
Well,
Spider-Man.
did he though?
And in my opinion, like even when he
Or
fell
do
short,
or do
like
you feel like he was just shown as the normal teenager? Because he
Yeah,
did mess up sometimes. It wasn't catastrophic, but I think he
but he
made
had his
normal
moments.
teenager mistakes.
Yeah,
normal could be a better word, because it's like nothing just seemed unexpected, in my opinion. Like nothing came off as like, oh, you're doing something way different than what I would expect 50 other heroes in the MCU to do.
Okay.
Like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason I enjoy heroes like say Iron Man or even Batman, they have huge glaring flaws. Huge glaring flaws. And that's what attracts me to characters. So even though Miles was a great MC and I see why a lot of people were attached to him, for me he was like neutral to semi-positive. You know what I mean?
And it could
hmm
also be the fact that he's still a teenager, like he's 15. So like
yeah,
what we would see, because your examples were Iron Man and Batman. Iron Man and Batman are grown men.
True.
So the mistakes that you would make as a grown man are different than the mistakes that you would make as a teenager. Like
right.
even thinking back on mistakes that I made as a teenager, I felt like it was the end of the world. And then I'm looking at it now like, why was I even tripping over that?
Yeah.
True. But I guess the outrageous stuff is what makes me like him a little bit more. Like
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I enjoyed about Tom Holland that stuck out for me is in his Spider-Man was that scene in the last movie when he started beating down was it Green Goblin?
Yeah.
hmm
That scene felt
But
so pure to
So,
me and
but
not
but but the difference is that Tom Holland, the reason why he was beating Green Goblin in the face, because he had just witnessed Aunt May die.
uh,
Miles, because we haven't got to Beyond the Spider-Verse and we don't know how this whole thing is going to play out with Spot and his dad. We don't know if Miles is going to get to that point or not.
hmm
I mean true. It's just for me it it didn't pull me like in the first movie, especially since the first movie is so free recent on my mind for the audience. I
hmm
literally watched it a day before Across the Spider-Verse. He felt really clean cut.
I just think he hasn't gotten to that point yet. He hasn't done that 180 yet. Like
Could be.
the Spot is coming, but like his parents are still here. You know, none of his close friends. Like he lost his uncle. Like that was like a turning point for him, but a turning point for a different reason.
Yeah.
Like his uncle was like the Uncle Ben thing for most Spider-Man, but like
See, and I
I don't think he's just gotten to that point yet.
Mm.
I feel you, but the Miles that stuck out to me was the one that rolled his R's. That's the one I want to see. That's the one I want to see. I ain't gonna cap to
He
y'all.
want
Oh
that
my
he want
goodness.
that Insomniac Spider-Man.
He piqued my interest. The one that rolled his R's with the braids at the end of this. Hey, we gonna get into it. He caught my interest.
But same thing with your Tom Holland comparison. How did he get to that point? What happened that
For
made
him
him
to
get
get
to that
there.
point? That hasn't happened to
Tr-
this Miles yet.
True.
True, but I'm gonna be honest. If Beyond is the last one, I my expectations are not that he's just gonna extremely impress me soon. I truly think Miguel is probably gonna be the one to impress me in the next movie.
Now Miguel was definitely dope, and we can go ahead and get into Miguel because we've mentioned him a couple times. I think the most unique thing for me, and I'm touching back on it, is that Miguel isn't a true Spider-Man.
Mm.
The reason his powers came from, he was doing like like working on an experiment. So his backstory is that he is from the future. He's from 2099. He was
Mhm.
working for this company, and his boss, the way that he was keeping people working for the company is that he was feeding them this drug. So they would stay addicted to the drug and keep working for him. Miguel figured it out and decided to come up with a way to basically do something to his DNA to where he wouldn't be addicted to this drug. So his boss found out, and this other guy found out. I think this guy he was working with found out and tried to stop him. And in the midst of them tussling, the thing blew up, and that's how he got like the super strength, the fangs, the claws, and all that stuff. But his other thing was that he wanted to. It was something about him wanting to make like the future Spider-Man. So after he got all those powers and stuff, he just decided to become, a hero, and he just took the name Spider-Man. So he didn't get bit by a spider or any of that. So that's why I was saying he's not a true Spider-Man. He's just calling himself Spider-Man because he feels the need that there should be a Spider-Man in his dimension, in his future.
And now that
so you think they're going to touch
it,
on that in the next movie?
I don't think so. I think the most important thing that they did for Miguel's backstory is establishing why he's so hell-bent on this canon event theory not disturbing the Spider-Verse thing.
Okay.
So now that you actually mentioned that, food, I would have to say I don't think I've seen him do one web.
He has, I think they said like he made them, but he did do a web thing. Remember at the beginning when he was fighting with Gwen and Jessica and that, and way he was whipping people. Okay. So he has whips. It's just not, and that's the other thing with some Spider-Man, like the funny that they made in No Way Home is that Tobey Maguire's comes out of his skin, but like Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland's were like, nah, we just made these. We made web shooters. So like that just goes into like a different integration of how you get webs.
Hey, when I get Spider-Man 2 on PS5, I'm getting Miguel's suit first. Cause them claws, when he was climbing up that little train that was going up to the sky or whatever, I was like, hey, he vicious.
He definitely made an impression.
He vicious.
He definitely made an impression. He's an asshole for sure, but I think his intention was there. Like he's like that hard ass. Like everybody was trying to, lay it on Miles easy, and then Miguel's like, nah, this is what's going on. This is why you can't do this. Like with him being the leader and him being the head over the Spider Society, like it made his personality made sense. Right. The way that he saw things made sense.
Right.
And the thing is, he made some good points because if he ain't let Gwen in, we wouldn't get the movie. But plot.
It's true.
We got to get the plot.
We got to get the plot.
But he made sense. He tried to protect the whole universe.
My thing is, I think he's wrong about Miles' dad. I do think he's wrong.
Is this going into the canon event theory?
Huh?
Is this going into the canon event theory?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My thing is that I think Miles exists outside of this. The whole thing about Miles being an anomaly, him never being Spider-Man, automatically dejects him from the events of main Spider-Man. Everybody who went through these events were supposed to be Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But then Miles get bit. He's the first anomaly. So by data and statistics, yes, let's fall into this canon event theory because this makes sense. But if he exists outside of it, I feel like it's worthy to challenge that maybe his shit's not going to go the same way.
I don't even say maybe. I 100% think it's not going to go the same way.
Now, the only counterpoint that I have to this is that if we go off the Insomniac Miles Morales' story, his dad did die in the first Spider-Man game. But they never discuss that, Miles is not supposed to be Spider-Man. Like, they just say he's Spider-Man, he's running alongside Peter Parker, and that's cool. But for some reason, this Miles Morales was never supposed to be Spider-Man. So
maybe the actual anomaly is that Peter Parker died, and that's what wasn't supposed to happen. Miles was supposed to become a Spider-Man. Peter Parker just wasn't supposed to die.
that's what Miguel said. He was like,
Yeah.
if you hadn't been bit, that Spider-Man wouldn't have died. So it's like the facts are lining up. Like what Ryan said, he had points. He had valid points to believe what he believed, that Miles being here is a danger to the multiverse. Even on top of the facts, when they went to Spider-Man India's crib and saved the captain and that big ass black hole happened, like the facts are standing against you. Like, I personally don't feel like your dad needs to die, but like the chain of events that have just happened right now are against you at this point.
Yeah.
Because ain't no black hole popped up in his universe yet.
Right.
Unless he do save his dad, and then it's like, but here's the thing, ain't the spot is an anomaly technically, right? Because he wasn't, that was supposed to happen to him if Miles,
right?
Who's on Earth 42?
Didn't the Spot originate from Earth 42? Because that was his spider.
The Spot was in 1610. He was always on 1610. But it was just the events of the chain reaction of them bringing the spider from 42 over and biting Miles and Kingpin doing all that BS and them foiling the collider plan that he turned into Spot. So in Ryan's case, the Spot, well, in Ryan's case, Ryan is right because Spot is an anomaly. That was the whole reason that Gwen even went to see Miles. She was on a secret mission to monitor the Spot because the Spot is an anomaly.
Right. So then my whole thing is their goal was just to capture him and send him back to his world so he don't make it back, basically. Like,
I have no idea.
Get him on out of here and hopefully Miles' planet would have been straight.
I have no idea what they were going to do with the Spot. When
probably
they got
awful.
him.
I mean,
but what
Miguel looked like he would do
it. Yeah. But what's your opinion on Miguel and his canon event theory? Ralph.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ryan. You didn't say a name.
I thought I said Ralph at the beginning. My bad.
Ralph.
But the canon event theory, I enjoyed learning about it. I enjoyed, seeing all the other spider people that were there, kind of going through their, moments of losing Uncle Ben or Aunt May or an equivalent along the line. But like I said earlier, Miles does not follow that because he wasn't supposed to become Spider-Man. Now he's patient 1. He's patient 0. He's pretty much, he has no unknown data going off him. Pretty much what you said, Foop. He has no data going off of him. It's all unknown. So they just have to watch and monitor. Except, however, Miguel is not wanting to. He's trying to control his events, make sure things like this happen to try to get him back in from keeping him from being too long of an anomaly. It's very much like the police in Loki, how they try to bring things back into the web itself to keep it intact. But I didn't really like Miguel. He's very much an asshole. So
Miguel is an asshole, but it's like I see where he's coming from.
Asshole.
Because when they went into his backstory and what he tried to do, when he tried to replace the Miguel from a different universe and just go about his life, and it just turned to a big clusterfuck. And now he's just so hard set, like, no, we cannot let this happen again, because when it happened to me, it, shit hit the fan. So I felt where he was coming from. But
so my question is, I understand why they're comparing Miles to other Spider-Mans because he got the spider bite, but at the same time, shouldn't they instead be comparing him to the other Miles? Like, isn't every universe's Miles the Prowler? You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't that be something better for Miguel to look into? Like, oh, let's see what you would have been in my universe and everybody else's.
And that's what I was saying, that he's too hard set on this canon event theory that he doesn't want to look outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you accept the fact that Miles is an anomaly, but you're not looking into the possibilities of what these chain of events could be for him because he's an anomaly.
Exactly, and the Peter that died in his universe, didn't that Peter already lose his uncle and dad?
Well, he lost his uncle. He lost his uncle. I don't know about parents.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
cause for most Peter Parker stories, his parents are already gone, which is why he was living with
Right.
Uncle Ben and Aunt May to begin with.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, technically, in Miles' universe, the events did happen, right? Right? Am I off?
What they're trying to do, the way they were trying to make it make sense for Miles's case, they are trying to take the Uncle Ben canon event and say that Uncle Aaron was his Uncle Ben event,
Right.
which could make perfect sense, uncle for uncle, but what if that's not what that's supposed to be?
Exactly.
Like you're trying to line it up to make it make sense, but now that we're seeing that he's an anomaly, that he's never supposed to be Spider-Man, this event that you think has a correlation has none.
Okay. Well, I would say, so with Peter B having his daughter and doing it for Miles, does that mean Mayday is also an anomaly?
I saw that theory too, and if she's an anomaly, I think Miguel has valid points, but I also think the canon event theory is bullshit when it comes to Miles.
He needs some other scientists
Same.
on his team. Like, he needs someone else to help him look into this
Like
stuff versus just
right,
listening.
right, because you're taking the obvious and putting it together. Oh, your uncle died, my uncle died. Oh, you lost the captain, I lost the captain. Like, you're putting the obvious together, but you're not looking at the outside possibilities. You're not looking at the differences. Because it's possible that it may be big events that are different for all of these spider people, but they're not looking at that. They're just looking at the commonalities. And was like, okay, all of
Right.
this shit is supposed to happen.
It's like he's trying to be Doctor Strange, but don't have the know-how.
He don't have he don't have the ring. Definitely so. But I do want to talk about Gwen. I like how they started with her at the beginning of the movie, because it gave that where are they now type thing. Because when we got to Into the Spider-Verse, it ended upbeat. Like, Miles has, fully accepted his potential as Spider-Man. We just beat Kingpin. All of my friends get to go back to their universes and, resolve. And then we get to the beginning of Across the Spider-Verse, and we see Gwen living in her dimension, and we see that, the aftermath of it isn't so happy-go-lucky. She's having trouble fitting in. She's having this conflict with her dad because she's Spider-Woman and he has this whole manhunt to get Spider-Woman. She, just like Ralph was saying before with Miles and him dealing with the fact of being alone, she's also dealing with the fact with being alone. I thought, to me, it was a very compelling way to start the movie, especially when it got to after the Vulture fight, when she finally unmasked herself in front of her dad, and he can't wrap his head around what's going on at the moment, and he still want to arrest her. And I was like, yeah, he couldn't wrap his head around, like, this is your daughter. He's still so focused on the fact that he has to arrest somebody for killing Peter Parker. And seeing his daughter in the spider suit, like, it's just it was so much going on in that moment. And then when it went into the credits, I was like, yeah, that's how you start the movie.
Cause
I
I
like
gotta
that.
Yeah, and I got to give him some leeway because he was hurt. Like, part of him being upset about Peter Parker dying was like, this is like a second son to me, but I'm also watching my daughter be in pain because she
Mm-hmm.
lost her closest friend. Like, I felt for him, like he was in a state of
I
shock. That's not how
I
you should
fe-
have reacted. But
that's what I was about to say. Like, I feel your emotion, but still trying to arrest her though.
yeah,
I But they had to, because in the comics is he did let her go. When she
Mm,
demasked herself to him, he did let her go. But I
hmm,
think for this they had to switch it to further push her into joining the Spider Society.
okay.
They
yeah,
had to give Miguel and Jessica a reason to accept Gwen into the Spider Society, and that was the reason. Otherwise, she was going to jail. She was either going to get shot or she was going to jail.
yeah. But Gwen, I enjoyed her honestly.
I like
Before
Gwen.
Miguel was introduced, she was probably my favorite Spider Woman in the Spider Man. Yeah, she was like my favorite Spider Woman. The only thing is, I I want to see what comes next because it's like, is her story just going to be I moved to Miles' universe and we're going to be lovey
I
dovey,
don't.
happily ever after? Am I going to go back to my universe? We just going to, what I'm saying? I am interested to see what happens next with her story because
Yeah,
at the end of the day, she gets her dad back. But the biggest issue is that if all of this stuff ends and beyond the Spider Verse and everything goes back to normal, you still might not get your friend back and still got to deal with that sadness and depression. You know what I mean?
I agree. I'm definitely The other thing about what I like about the beginning is because they put Gwen at the front. So it's like you're
Mm-hmm.
following Miles and you're following Gwen at the same time in their choices and their decisions and their mindset of what it means to be Spider-Man, what it means to be Spider-Woman. And what I found out by digging into Gwen's origins is that she doesn't go by Spider-Woman anymore. She goes by Ghost Spider, and it
Hmm.
could be
Hmm.
possible that through her journey that she might change her alias to fit whatever type of new mindset she has coming out of this.
That's a
Okay.
cold name. Ghost Spider. Sound like someone off of G.I. Joe. I'm Ghost Spider.
Ghost Spider. What
But
about you, Ralph? How'd you feel about Gwen?
I enjoyed Gwen. Personally, I love Gwen. Very much
Me
love her
too.
character. And like I will praise on the entire scenes with her and her father's interaction every chance I get. I loved it. I love
Mm-hmm.
the color changes. I love the feeling that it gave. I love the fact that it made me realize that this is a more serious moment with the darker tones. It went from being happy to
Yes.
very serious quick. And I love that. Her as a character, I enjoyed it. I loved it. It gave her purpose with what you said, Foop, of her, instead of following the comic book way of just her kind of being let go. They gave her a purpose to actually join the Spider Society. I do support that.
Mm-hmm.
For the ending, I have a possible question. I believe it's just another theory. Since her father did not become captain, does that mean her Earth is going to be exactly just gone? Is it just
And
going to be
that's
gone?
and that's what I was
According
saying.
to Miguel's view, it should.
According to, according to Miguel, yes. But that's what I was saying before. Like, everybody's looking at these commonalities, but you guys are not looking at the different. You guys are not looking at
Hmm.
these differences. Like,
Yeah.
Mal specifically asked Gwen, he was like, "Ain't your daddy captain?" She just stared at him because you guys have no answers. You guys have
She was
no
like, wait a
answers.
minute.
You
You're
guys
spitting
have no
facts.
answer. You don't have any answers.
So let's go back to Into the Spider Verse when thing really popped off. Everybody got transported into Miles' universe.
Mm-hmm.
Would that already make them an anomaly because they're not living on their Earth for those couple of days or however time that they was there?
I don't.
Like how does that affect that?
The way that they kind of like, I won't say they didn't like straight out describe it, but the way that they alluded to what an anomaly is, it feels like it's it has two different purposes. It's like, one, you are existing in a universe that you shouldn't be, which is like the vulture thing at the beginning, and then what you were referring to where everybody ended up on Miles' universe. And then the other anomaly being Miles is like you have this whole destiny, like you went through this whole chain of events that should have never happened in the first place.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know if I would call them anomalies, because they are meant to be spider people. They just ended up in Miles' dimension.
I think what would make it a bigger anomaly is if when they left, something major happened that they should have prevented.
Or if they
you know
stayed,
what I mean? Like,
or if they never went home. I could see that being a problem too.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's like a difference if you leave your universe for the 3 days where if you were still there, Spider-Man would have been chilling at Starbucks drinking a coffee versus, oh, this was the day that Green Goblin tried to break out and you were supposed to stop him. Because you didn't stop him, he tore up a bank or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would have been an anomaly in all their universes. But I don't think they're going into that.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's like the more I think about it, it's like if that's the case, kind of why does Mayday still exist? Why did they end up continuing to have Mayday if Peter was the reason or Miles was the reason?
As we've been having this conversation and you guys keep bringing up stuff that should be anomalies that's nobody's like putting the fist down to, I think that's on purpose to say that this canon event stuff is not real.
Yeah.
Food said we solved the problem. We here.
I feel like they did some of these things on purpose because it's not real. It may be it. I think it made sense.
Miguel is the true anomaly.
I think it made sense to make this whole canon event theory, because if you look at how big the Spider Society is and what percentage of those Spider-Man have all gone through the same events, of course it's easy to say, oh, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But as we're finding little tidbits that don't really make sense, it's kind of like, well,
it's like we're slowly breaking it down.
Yeah.
And Peter B, I think Peter B, like how Ralph touched on it, is a really good sign of what you're saying, Food, because his baby shouldn't be here, but you was waving your baby all around real happy. Technically, your baby should not be here. Like, not at all. Your universe should have shook because now with your baby being here, what are they going to do in the future?
She got spider powers and everything through genetics.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Did any other Spider-Man even have a kid?
Jessica Drew was pregnant.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah. But but then it goes back to, is that supposed to happen? Like, is it cool that she's having a kid? Because
Miguel needs some more scientists helping him out.
He needs some more facts. But I do want to go back to Gwen, and I want to touch on Ralph's thing about her relationship with her dad. And I think it played a very big part into Miles' story as well, because you remember when they were talking and Miles was kind of like alluding to the fact that he wants to tell his parents he's Spider-Man, and Gwen is like, nah, don't do that, just because of the experience she just had with her father. And I was like, that's some good like juxtaposition. I don't think the same thing is gonna happen with his parents, but I could see why she's kind of like, don't do that.
Miles' dad just get mad that he didn't tell him. Like, I'm over here talking to you like you my equal. You my son. What you doing that for?
But you also have to look at the relationship that Gwen with Spider-Gwen has with her dad versus Miles' Spider-Man with his dad. Like, her dad had a whole manhunt to find her, while Miles and his dad are bros.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets sick of him a little. He a little irritated, but he like, I see why you here. You saved my life a couple of
Right.
times. We
Yeah.
So
cool, just don't mess up.
I definitely think if we get to Beyond the Spider-Verse and Miles does reveal to his parents that he's Spider-Man, I think it's gonna happen. I think they're gonna have a different
Yeah.
reaction just because of the relationship that they have with the Spider-Man. And I think that's a difference too. Because if you think of
Mm-hmm.
all the other Spider-Man, like they got beef with somebody. The police captain want to know who they are. John Jameson wants to find out who they are. Who is this spider guy? He's a menace to society. Blah 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 blah. And then we get to Miles and him and his dad. Big ups. We finna go fight the spot.
Yeah. You right.
Talking to him about his woes of being a parent. Like,
Right.
dang, my son growing up too fast.
Me to my son in the Spider-Man costume. I was like,
That'd be me. I'll talk smack to my parents if that was me. I'd be like, maybe you just tripping. You ever thought about
yeah,
that?
yeah. I can definitely see you doing that. But I also want to touch back to what I was saying. I think Gwen made a bad call for not being on Miles' side when it really hit the fan. Like I will bypass you get into the society and not going to see Miles immediately. Like I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to prove yourself to the society. You had to go on these missions, whatever.
Spending the night at Hobie house wearing his Converse.
But I mean, like for the past 2 months, finding out all of this information, finding out about all of these spider people and the anomalies thing, finding out that Miles is an anomaly, like I can bypass that part. But when it
Mm-hmm.
came down to it, 3 seconds on the clock, and they talking about your best friend's dad has to die, and you just standing there and let the whole chase scene go on. Let Miguel tear him up, talk all that smack, tell him he's an anomaly, all that other stuff. And then him leaving like he did, I think you should have had his back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some
I give you
friends
that.
ain't
Without
real
without
friends. Hey.
without knowing that it's gonna be another movie, I can support you. I can support you there.
I mean, she's going to get him now. Like she's through the whole sequence. Like once we got to the end of that whole sequence, she realized that like you guys, this is not right.
Mm-hmm.
But in it, I could see it as, because if we're going back to the canon event theory and all of the events that have happened to her, I could see her falling into it because it's easier to accept it when 16,000 of the spider people then went through the same thing you went through.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when it comes down to your boy, and this hasn't happened yet, I feel like maybe there should have been a moment of, well, should it happen? Like you're saying that it's supposed to, but should it? You know? And that's where I feel
Yeah.
like if not Gwen, at least Peter B.
Peter B tried a little bit. He tried a little bit.
Yeah.
He tried to
He
reason. He tried to reason with Miles so he wouldn't go back and save his dad.
I mean, but he did what he thought was being a good friend. Gwen kind of was like, which I'm not mad at her because she's also younger than Peter B. Was trying to still figure it out, which was kind of the issue
Yeah.
because Miles had to react. He didn't have time to think. He had to react to what was ever going on. Peter B. at least tried to relax and try to calm down, and be like, "Hey, let's think about it." I thought about it. Let's think about it.
I'll give you that. I just think I wouldn't be like if you are Ralph for Miles and they talking about you got to stay here, your dad is possibly gonna die in 2 days. Like, no, like
like,
what?
I'll be like, you tripping, Food Dad, cool with me. Shoot.
But I'm just
You
saying, like, that's where I was saying that this movie challenges what does it mean to be a Spider-Man from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Because Miles was like, how do you know that if I save my dad, everything's gonna blow up? Like, all of this stuff, like, where's the data? Where's the statistics? All you showing me is a diagram of spider webs and Andrew Garfield from 2014. Like, that's not enough for me.
You're right. I get it.
I don't know. I think when it came down to it, she made a bad call.
She did. What is
I
it?
would.
Fight, flight, or freeze? She froze.
She for, and I feel like it also had stuff to deal with her own kind of like personal stuff that she was also still dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Because it to my knowledge, and you can correct me, Food, but it hasn't been that long since she left her world.
It's been like it.
3 months
I want
in
to
the
say
movie, right?
2 or 3 months.
It was like 2 or 3 months. Okay.
Yeah.
But
So, like, by the time she got to the society, they already gave her the rundown, and she basically just kind of had to accept it and deal with it. In comparison to Miles, who's like,
But
"I'm
her
gonna
stuff
fight
had,
against it."
but her stuff had already happened, and that's why I
Yeah.
was saying I give her a pass because it's easy to accept what has happened to you when somebody comes with you with this is a logical reason, like this is supposed to happen. This is this whole Spider-Verse thing. It's happened to him, her. Like it's easy to accept it when you have that community where everybody's been through the same thing.
Right.
We all lost somebody. That's what it means to be Spider-Man. So Spider-Man is equivalent with depression. I'd
Trauma
rather be
bonding.
somebody else.
Trauma bonding is a real thing.
Look, make me somebody else. I don't even like him. I'll be Captain America. Give me a drug to be buff.
But I definitely, I think she made a bad call. But I think at the end, where she finally realized that, like this is wrong, she gave up her Spider Society wristband. And shout out to Spider-Punk.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hobie Brown. He a real one.
He cool. He did that.
He wanted discourse.
He the main one looking out for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. Like when he was telling Miles, I think he was the first one to put that seed in Miles' head of like, really think about, because he told him, he was like, think about what you're getting into before you accept that wristband. Because Miles was so starstruck with the Spider Society, how many spider people there were. Like, he was so caught up in not being the only one being Spider-Man that he wasn't really thinking about like what he was getting himself into. And Hobie was planting those seeds. Like, how do you know that this really works? How do you know that they're telling you the truth? Like, really think about what you're getting into before you say, yeah, I want to join the society. And then when it came down to Miguel telling him what's up, then that's when Miles snapped and Hobie just egged him on. Like, he gave him that push to be like, hey, come on.
Hobie just wanted a squad. That's what it really was. Hobie was like, I already know what I'm finna do. You on board? You on board? Yeah. You got some cool powers.
Yeah.
You with me?
He was telling him, he was like, if you want to travel multiverse, just make your own watch. You don't need they watch. And he turned around and made his own. Like he proved it by making his own multi-dimensional watch and giving it to Gwen, because I feel like he knew that this was gonna go south. And him knowing Gwen and her relationship with Miles, he knew that she was gonna go after him. So here's this watch. Come holler at me. Let's go get everybody else, and let's go get your boy.
Yeah. I'll be a real one.
We gotta talk about the ending now.
Okay, let's talk about the end. Let's talk about that cliffhanger. Y'all, when I watched that, I completely forgot that this movie was a 2-parter. I was so mad.
I didn't even know it was a 2-parter, but when I was watching, like we've watched enough movies, when the music picked up, I said, hold on. Why is it getting so upbeat? I was like, hold on. They gathering together. They finna do the final fight, right? Or is this the end? And like, I immediately like perked up. I was like, hold on. This something feels, my Spidey senses are tingling right now. Like something off right here. Why does it feel like it's about to end? And this ain't nowhere near the end. And I just sat there, went off. I texted Foop. I was like, bro, is there an end screen to this? Like, is there an end scene after the credits? I was like, what is this?
Done data.
Yeah, that was it.
I was like, huh? I was like, what?
It was a done data.
This ain't the end.
Yo, when the music start picking up and when Gwen's monologue start getting in the back, they showing her with all of the some of the people from Into the Spider-Verse, and then she showed up with Spider-Man India, Spider-Bite, Spider-Punk, and I was like, oh, we finna get into it. Like, I was ready to go. I was strapped in, I've checked to make sure the harness was tight, and I was like, let's go. And then the movie ended, and I was like, damn, this is 2 parts, ain't it?
Look, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, so the beef, I was like, I see what's finna happen. The beef finna get up. Now they finna like sneak somewhere and get it done. We finna go into like a stealth scene, and then it was the credits. I'm like, huh?
Because shit got hectic fast. Like, after the chase scene, and we thought Miles went home. Like, I was so caught up in whether or not Miguel was going to get Miles that I missed them panning to the screen that said he was going to Earth 42. I caught it the second time I watched it, but the first time I missed it. When he got into that little DNA chamber thing, the screen said Earth 42. It did not say 1610. And I missed it because I was so caught up in the fact, like, is Miguel gonna get him? Is Miles gonna get away? But if you miss that part, when it gets to the scene where Uncle Aaron shows up and he glitched, and I was like, he's in the wrong universe. And I was shit got hectic.
It got real quick.
I missed the 42 screen, but what kind of triggered me was the colors of the universe was different.
And
I was like, are they just trying to allude to the fact? Yeah, I was like, are they just trying to allude to the fact that it's a little solemn right now and the spots out there? And 2, I was wondering why the Spider Woman at the computer was just looking at him and ain't like try harder to stop it. Like, she kind of just looked over and was like, like, I was like, that was a little off to me.
But shit. Yeah. If you did not pay attention to detail, it would feel I felt exactly how Ron felt. But on my second watch, when I saw the differences in the room where Miles was versus where Gwen was, I was like, they're definitely showing you that they are in 2 different spots right now.
And then we saw Miles who rolls his R's.
Please.
That was cold. I can't roll my R, so I was a little envious. I was like, I can't do that. Or I can't do it.
Why would you?
Because you know how people sing and they roll their R's? I can't do that. I got a lisp. I can't even say S's right.
Man.
And I can't say R in a cool way like y'all.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway. What you got, Ralph?
But I was going to bring up, so, we saw everybody get back together, except I don't know. It may just be my head thinking that this was something, but I'm just going to throw it out there on a whim. So Jessica Drew is looking out, and based on the look of the scene, it looked like she got a portal. Because we saw her
open a portal?
No, I think it's either Gwen gave her a portal to come over and join them, or she opened a portal herself to go wherever Gwen was. So I don't know if she is going to be a turning point for Beyond the Spider-Verse, or is she still going to be sided with Miguel? I'm stuck on. I've been stuck on that for since I seen the movie, because I'm trying to wrap my head of, did she?
I don't remember Jessica making a portal. I remember seeing a reflection of a portal, but I thought it came from Gwen.
Yes. I didn't see her make a portal either, except I know she got a portal.
Well,
I'm thinking, did she get it from Gwen?
Was it the Spider-Punk looking portal, or was it the Spider Society looking portal?
They didn't show it. We just got a sound.
If she made a portal, it's possible. I will say this, though. I don't think she went after Gwen, because Gwen doesn't have the watch anymore, so they can't track. She has Hobie's watch, and they can't track that. Right. The second thing is, what was I about to say? She may have went back, because the thing is, she let Gwen go. She was sitting on her motorcycle outside of Miles's house, apartment, or whatever, watching Gwen have that whole interaction with his parents, and she could have easily got Gwen.
Yeah.
But she didn't. She let her go. So she could have just, got the portal. She and my theory might have been that Jessica knows that this is wrong. But she told Gwen, she was like, if you mess this up, I can't help you. So, at this point, I think she's making the decision to just leave Gwen alone. Like, Gwen has fully quit the spider. She's been kicked out of the Spider Society. Like, anything that she does at this point, you got it. I'm gonna let you have it. And she probably just pumped her portal and dipped out.
I don't know. I can go on. I feel like I can go on a whim and say she's going to be a turning point in the next movie.
If they can pinpoint the fact that her, Miguel, and the Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, all went to Earth 1610 looking for Miles, not registering in their head that he's obviously on Earth 42. If you guys really understood how your machine works, you would know that he never showed up on 1610.
Yeah.
But the fact that all three of them showed up means that they have no idea where this man is.
Because they was looking for him. I was gonna say unless they were there just to make sure, like, we finna watch his dad and make sure this happens. But they was specifically looking for Miles.
They were specifically looking for Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Now they might run into each other. Now they might go back to the crib, to the Spider Society. They may check the logs and be like, oh, he went to 42. And I could see Jessica going with Miguel and whoever he recruits next to Earth 42 under the disguise that I'm on your side. But she may just be, helping out Gwen and the rest of them secretly, throwing Miguel off course, etc., etc. I can see that too.
I mean, the next movie's finna be 2 hours long, so there got to be like a Spider Society war or something.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna include all of the Spider people that they did in this movie. I think I think big players are gonna be Gwen, Miles, Second Miles, Miguel, Jessica, Peter B, and everybody else who Gwen recruited on the team. I think those might be the only Spider people that we see in Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the same. But I mean, it was a great movie, start to finish. I enjoyed it.
I loved all the references, all the little tidbits, the way that they built it, like all of the building to that cliffhanger made sense. It's like we didn't rush because we want to get to this cliffhanger. Like everything the pacing was like establishing all these new characters, seeing things from their point of view, understanding these conflicts, and then when we got to the cliffhanger, and it was like, okay, all of this makes sense, and now I'm just ready for Beyond the Spider-Verse. I'm ready for this to take off.
I already got my seatbelt on.
Man, I got the seatbelt on, the harness on. They didn't checked it. I'm in the right seat. Like, we in there. We ready to go.
I got the Spider-Man popsicle from the ice cream truck.
With the eyes that go like this.
One eye already drooping down.
One of the bubblegum eyes already dripping down.
Already dripping down. That ice cream truck, ice cream start melting the second it come off of it. You know what I'm saying?
For real though. I used to hate getting the little carrots of ice creams because they never came out. They
never.
The SpongeBob one never came out. They had a Powerpuff Girls one that never came out right.
The only thing you get from the ice cream truck, in my opinion, was the fudge bars and the ice cream sandwiches. Them the only things I'll get
bomb pops?
I got the Choco Tacos.
Y'all didn't get bomb pops?
I ain't careful. Which one's the bomb pop?
The red, white, and blue.
those were always just okay to me. I'll pick the banana popsicles, the orange cream popsicles, and the fudge bars over that every time.
I got the ones that I couldn't find at the store for real. Like, you can go to the store and buy bomb pops. You can go to the store and buy push-up pops. But them characters, where y'all got that from? That Choco Taco? I've only seen them in the gas station.
But them ice cream sandwiches, they never that big in the stores either. The ice cream truck got the jumbo ice cream sandwiches. They never that big at Walmart. Never.
No.
Okay.
See how Ryan always get us talking about food?
Hey, listen, bro. I've been losing my weight. I've been doing my intermittent fasting. Let me have cravings. Leave me alone.
I feel you. But that was all of the hot takes that I had for the movie. Did you guys have anything else?
Nah. Honestly, no. I feel like we
good
touched on everything.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse. It was originally supposed to be coming out next year, but the director said they haven't recorded any lines for it, and they removed the date from the Twitter page. So, maybe same time next year? We don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. But let's go ahead and shut this down. Once again, Ryan and Ralph, I would like to thank you guys for joining me on another episode of the Blerd Mob Podcast. Also, for those who are listening and are watching, thank you for watching or listening to this episode. Whether this is your first time or 50th time listening, the watches and listens are always appreciated. Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know how you felt about Into the Spider-Verse. And with that being said, go ahead and lead us out, Ralph.
All right. Make sure you guys check out our donation link from Ko-fi. It helps us with equipment, software, and pretty much just keeping things up and running on a daily basis to give you guys more content. And also make sure to check out our affiliate links. You can go check out Right Stuff Anime, get yourself some Funko Pops, some movies, some manga. Maybe you got somebody's birthday coming up. Who knows? It'll be a perfect gift. And you can also check out Entertainment Earth as well. Get some more Funko Pops. And you might find yourself a limited edition one. But please make sure to check those out when possible. And also make sure to check out our socials. Instagram at the Blerd Mob Pod. Make sure you guys check out our Facebook and TikTok at the Blerd Mob Podcast. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at the Blerd Mob. And with that being said, we out.
Hey! Cause I already know if I get Kyosho Core and you go to yelling in my face, I'm just gonna shut you out. Like, there is no Avatar state. There is no Avatar. There is no.
I'm out of here.
You won't hear from me again. Like, you would have.